everyone, Justine Froelker here, and it's Therapy Thursday. A little bit different setup today because I'm actually kind of redoing one of my most popular Therapy Thursdays from earlier this year about grief, and I'm adding to it after working with a client this week. So I thought it deserved a re-record. So back in February, I was working with a client who was going through a divorce that she did not want, and I was talking with her about grief because that's grief. I don't care if you don't call it grief. None of us come out of this life unscathed. We will all have traumas, losses, and tragedies. None of us have a life that has turned out the way we hoped, dreamed, and planned. I call that grief. And so when I was talking to this client about how I believe grief works, I talked about grief as an ocean. We've all heard that before. Grief is an ocean, and there will be days that we ride the wave and we feel like we're on top of our grief and we can figure it out. And then there's days that the wave freaking knocks us down. We're eating sand and we're freaking throwing up salt water. And I was working with her because she was really struggling with offloading her hurt, especially through rage, onto the people that she loves the most, and obviously the people who were hurting her the most. And I looked at her and I said, you don't get to jump off the surfboard when the wave of grief is hitting you and pick up the surfboard and bash the wave. The wave's still gonna freaking win. The wave is still coming. And even after you've taken that damn surfboard and tried to bash the wave in rage because you're not willing to rumble with the feelings of loss and frustration and hurt and loneliness that are coming with grief, you're still going to end up eating sand. And so, when it comes to that piece, that huge metaphor that I love so much when it comes to grief, whether or not you willingly jump off the wave and you're like, I can't do this. I am going to literally let this wave hit me today because I literally can't do it. We're allowed that. We really are. Especially during the holidays some days. The waves are still going to come. And we're going to drown. Unless we choose to stand up. We choose to stand up and freaking swim or get our ass back on that surfboard and ride it. And if you're a person of faith, you stand up and you realize that His hands are the firm foundation on which you can stand. It doesn't mean that you have to like your story every day. This week, I was working with a client who lost her father. And her sister are really coping with grief in different ways. And I just got back from California from my second TED Talk, and we spent a day at Newport Beach watching the surfers. And I told my client this week, you guys aren't going to be dealing with grief in the same way. That wave is coming, and we can most likely feel it coming. You really can, especially if you're doing your work to heal and live with your grief rather than sitting in the shit, you sit with it. So you can feel that wave coming. Just like when you see all those surfers sitting on their boards, and then all of a sudden they see something on the horizon that makes all of them paddle out. And they're all paddling out at the same time because they feel it coming. Just like you feel, for the most part, that wave of grief coming. Not every surfer hits that wave. Some surfers miss that wave. Some surfers get on that wave and crash and burn. Others are able to ride it all the way into the shoreline. That's also grief. We are all walking, surfing, our own path of grief. It's not going to look the same. And we have to give ourselves grace and other people grace on that path that lasts a lifetime. Because grief is a lifetime. We must do the work to turn towards one another and not away. To be able to look at the other surfer, the person that we love a lot, and to be able to say, you all right over there? I feel this one coming. Let's go, let's paddle out together. And then I'm gonna wish you love and luck as you try to hit that wave. But I'm not sure this is mine to hit. This holiday season especially, be cognizant of this amazing, beautiful metaphor. We're all surfers in the ocean of grief. ultimately, we choose how we ride the waves and how we respond to it and how we love one another well through it. Thanks so much, and make it a great day. I'll see you next week.